Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The subject of the discourse today is what exactly is Nibbana, enlightenment. What does it mean by the term enlightenment? Now, this topic has been chosen on the basis of what we discussed last time. In the last discourse, we discussed about the last verse in the Karaniya Metta Sutta, Lord Buddha's discourse on universal love. There the Buddha says that a person who has practiced universal love, metta, in all its forms and with total dedication, that is metta in three distinct stages. One, metta as a sila or virtuous conduct, metta as a meditative technique, a meditative subject leading to samadhi or ecstatic absorption, whereby you transport your consciousness to the level of the Brahma gods in Brahmaloka. And then metta as wisdom, that is vipassana meditation leading to the transcendental state of freedom, enlightenment, in these three stages: sila, samadhi, panya. Now, I have discussed in this during this whole series about sila in detail, also about samadhi and panya up to a point. Now, as a part of this, continuing with the series where we are talking about metta based on wisdom, and specifically intuitive wisdom, which means an insight into the reality, into the ultimate reality of Nibbana, enlightenment. Now the sutta says, I will read out the sutta. Dittincha anupagamma silava dasanena sampanno kamesu vinaya gedhan nahi jatu gabbasayang punare titi. Holding no wrong views, virtuous, and with a vision of the ultimate, having overcome all sensual desire, never again in a womb is an enlightened person born again. An enlightened person is never born in a womb again. Now, what does this mean? This is a very succinct expression of the state of an enlightened person. An enlightened person does not, for instance, hold any wrong view of any kind. And he is extremely virtuous. And having overcome all sensual desire, this sensuous appetite that binds beings in the world of desire, passion, lust, sensuality, which is known as Kamaloka. Now, having overcome all that, he has simultaneously a direct experience of Nibbana, of enlightenment, of the ultimate truth. So here, the experience of Nibbana is not just some kind of a theory or some kind of a notion of going into some place or becoming zero, nothing and all that. It's an objective attainment, something which can be verified here and now, and as a person attains that, his life is completely transformed, and the stages of transformation are also very, very clear. So once a certain person went to the Buddha and he says, Lord, Nibbanam, Nibbanam iti Bhuttam. Kimatham Nibbanam? Lord, it is said, enlightenment and enlightenment and enlightenment. What exactly is this thing called enlightenment? What happens? What is its nature? So in reply the Buddha said that enlightenment is a process. It is not just a sudden happening on which you have no control. It just happens to you, and then you become completely different, etc. Then you are, you are transported, or rather, you merge into the divine or into heaven, and you go to the heaven. All kinds of things are there. All kinds of religious goals are there. Now, Nibbana is the goal of a Buddhist, or of a serious practitioners of the Noble Eightfold Path, of the teachings of the Buddha. So, a person follows the Buddha exactly because he wants to be what the Buddha became. The Buddha became the supremely enlightened one. And as followers of the Buddha, our goal is also enlightenment. So when this person asked, the Buddha said, well, it is a process. It's a process of unfoldment based on a serious pursuit of the spiritual life. It just doesn't happen because some God or some guru or something has given this to you. No, it is to be attained by each person by pursuing the spiritual path leading to Nibbana, to enlightenment. So it is to be self-acquired, self-attained, and it's not a gift from anybody, it's not a bestowal from anyone. That must be clearly understood. Now, it requires a discipline, a training, a commitment, a complete dedication to a mode of development in various stages. And once we do that, the result is automatically Nibbana. You don't have to run after it or pray to somebody, give me Nibbana. No, nobody can give Nibbana. So, it is to be acquired by dint of hard work. And it is easy to conquer a country, as the Americans are trying to do now, and will end up in big failure. No question about that. You can conquer for some time, but not for all time. But even if you can conquer the whole world, as some religious fanatics think that they must, convert the entire world into their way of thinking. There are religious bodies who dream of evangelizing the entire world into their lot, into their kind. Now these are all dreams and nothing more than that. So the spiritual life is not a dream. It's not dreaming to gain something. No. It's a process of perfection and purity. The more you purify yourself, step by step, the more perfect becomes your consciousness, your mind. And the more perfect the mind is, a stage comes when the mind itself undergoes a complete transformation. And this spiritual transformation, where the mind has undergone complete change, total transformation, where it is no longer what it is now, that is the stage where the breakdown, the actual breaking point, the point of transition from the mundane to the super-mundane, from the worldly to the transcendental. So this step-by-step development or pursuit of spirituality, sadhana, has to be taken seriously. And in the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the path leading to Nibbana, and the only path for that matter, the Noble Eightfold Path consists of right understanding, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, self-effort, right mindfulness, and right meditative concentration. These are the 8 elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. And when you perfect all of them, when you practice all simultaneously, not just one, now you can see that this path that the Buddha has formulated to, because as an enlightened one, he is the best model, best guide to tell us which way to go and how to go. How to go about this business of getting, enlightened. So now, the whole thing starts with right understanding. Understanding of what? Understanding of the nature of life. What we are, we must understand. Most people, probably 99.9% people don't understand themselves. They're all steeped into the darkness of ignorance, unknowing. That is why they are caught up in a process of involvement known as karmic involvement, karma. So now right understanding is that kind of understanding of life which is objective, free from any dogma, doctrine or theorizing, none of those. Based pure and simple on understanding the truth about things. Buddhism is truth-based, not God-based religion. Most religions are God-based. Some supernatural being who controls your life and who is therefore responsible for your whatever that you do. He has created you and that sort of thing. Now this has been rejected absolutely, totally, because that is not the truth of life. How to prove that? Ultimately go and see the nature of life, what exactly it is. Ultimately life can be reduced to action, that's all. action, bodily action, verbal action, speech, mental action, thinking. Now, from the time we get up in the morning till we retire at night, what is it that we are doing? Nothing but action of one kind. Some actions are involuntary and don't have much potency or power. And some actions have great potency because they are volitional, intentional, deliberate actions. Whether you act in any manner, any bodily action by activity that you undertake, or whatever you speak, whatever you do, whatever you think. That is all. That's life. Ultimately boils down to. So if you go deeply into the truth of these three things, that is threefold karma or action, you will see that the happiness and misery of life, you see, is entirely dependent upon these actions. You can here and now, if you go and kill, either you are caught and into the jail, or some other thing happens. If you are very successful in manipulating and political influence, etc., you can get away. But you can get away now, but not from your future destiny. A killing karma, an action which deprives life, somebody's life, acquires a potency which is, you see, which is capable of producing a result, a similar result. So if a person kills, that person can be certain that he has deprived somebody's life, therefore his life too will be deprived in some way or other, accident, some bomb bursting somewhere, somebody killing, or some disease, some untimely death, short life. When you are a child, you die. When you have not seen life, you don't know anything about life until you are sufficiently matured. But you pass away when you are 11, 12, 10, 15, 20, 30, you are gone. Why all this? There must be a reason. The reason is action. This person has deprived life in the past, therefore he is now being deprived of living. So like that, if you analyze, go deeply into life, you will see that there is a thing called morality. Morality deals with what is good or what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is proper, what is improper. So now morality or ethics, you see, determines one's destiny, where a person is going to be born. So every action, the volitional action, there are 10 specific type of courses of actions which are capable of bringing about rebirth in a certain plane of existence. If they are ethically good, wholesome, they will lead to higher types of existence. The Devaloka, Brahmaloka are very, or even in the human world, in a very noble position. If they are ethically bad, unwholesome actions, they lead to subhuman states of existence, like animal life or ghost or demoniac beings, etc. So now action being the very lifeblood of one's existence, we have to have a very clear understanding, a right understanding of action itself. Once we have a clear understanding through the practice of right conduct, so you undertake the Shilas, beginning with, let us say, the 5 precepts, or the 8 precepts, or the 10, and so on. Now, by purifying your action by following these precepts, you purify your action. That's all that you do. Become morally purified. And moral purification leads to mental purification. If your actions are clean, good, pure, based upon, let us say, love, compassion, metta, universal love, generosity, benevolence, that will also cleanse the mind. If your actions are good and pure, your mind also becomes purified up to that action. It can lead morality or moral purification or purification of conduct, sila, can purify the mind up to a level. So you now practice meditation along with the practice of sila, virtuous conduct, and you meditate with earnestness, with a sense of discipline and determination that you are going to purify your mind. You are going to develop the consciousness, or the mind is, by purifying the mind, you develop it in such a way that all the potentials of mind will be at your disposal. Mind has immense potential. There is nothing that a person cannot achieve by cultivating the mind. A person can become a Buddha, a supremely enlightened being, who is the spiritual guide and teacher of both human beings and the gods. Buddha is teacher not only of human beings but of gods. Not one, many and billions of them, in different planes of divine existence. So, if a person can become that, what is it that one cannot achieve? The mind has great potential. That is why it is said that mind is a mine, M-I-N-E. It's a big mine of immense wealth and richness, great power, great wisdom, great knowledge, great virtue. Everything, you see, are to be found from developing the consciousness of the mind. So along with your ethical or your moral purification, you purify the mind through practice of meditation. Now, then, here meditations are twofold. One is known as samatha meditation, which calms down the mind, makes the mind still and calm, capable of knowing exactly what the truth is. And then the other part of it is vipassana, penetration into the reality. So through meditation, as you develop samadhi, or let us say at least the minimum level of upachara samadhi, then the mind becomes so still and calm and pure. You now exercise that mind, pure mind, and calm, tranquil mind. Exercise it in terms of the various states of insight. You exercise it to develop insight into reality. There are 15 such stages of development. Insight development known as vipassana. Vi means clearly. Passana means penetrating through to see the truth. Vipassana. So you exercise the practice of this meditation on vipassana and cultivate these various stages of insight. There are 15 of them. And then thereafter a stage of comes when the mind is absolutely pure and filled with wisdom, surcharged with insight. So much so that you say, it's called a stage of equanimity, sankharupekha, a state of total equanimity and balance, where you don't react to anything of the world. Nothing of the world affects you anymore. You are neither attracted by anything, nor you are depressed by losing something. No. So, it has become so totally, equilibrium, a state of equanimity. At that stage, some kind of change occurs in the mind. And that is the transit, the point where, from the mundane to the super-mundane, the time, that is the transit point, from where the mind is so purified and is so surcharged with wisdom that it breaks through the crust of ignorance. It's like a little chick in the egg. Now, when it is fully matured and the mother sits upon it and it goes through the process of maturity and fully developed inside, then it breaks the shell with its beak and comes out into the open world. It was confined into that little shell, now comes out into this infinite world of light and beauty and all sorts of wonderful things. So like that, at this stage of sankharupekha, total equanimity coupled with very powerful penetrative wisdom into things, that one is able to break through the shell or the crust that keeps us in a state of unknowing of Nibbana, not knowing of the ultimate reality, Nibbana, which is called enlightenment. So this breaking through into the transcendental state, there are four distinct stages of the transcendental attainment. One is known as Sotapanna, entrance into or a stream enterer, Sotapanna, one who has entered the stream of Nibbana. It's an irreversible stream leading absolutely, definitely to Nibbana automatically. You can't even go reverse. Automatically you are towards Nibbana once you are into this stream. So the Sotapanna, once he achieves this, he is totally freed from the subhuman states of existence. And his enlightenment brings about the fruit here and now, straight away. So this stage of Sotapanna, actually it occurs in two steps. One step is called Magga, or the moment where the fetters have been destroyed, which keep us bound into the mundane world. And the other step is called Phala, the fruition of the moment of enlightenment. The fruition stage where you enjoy the emancipation or liberation that Nibbana brings. Sotapanna is the first stage. Next is Sagaragami, once returner. Third is Anagami, non-returner. Fourth is Arahat, that is full enlightenment of a perfect one. Buddha became an Arhat, perfect one. Then he developed his other supreme enlightenment by virtue of the 30 paramis that he had cultivated. So these 4 steps, and each step with 4 stages, and each one with 2 steps, makes 8 distinct stages or steps of Nibbanic experience. So Nibbana is a definite experience, and in each stage life has undergone complete transformation. Now let us say you have a cup of milk or a bottle of milk. You can keep it for a day or 2 or 3. If you have a fridge, you can keep it maybe at the most 2 or 3 days or a week. Even that week is too much. But once you turn the milk, you see, after that the milk is gone. It goes bad. It's unusable at all. It rots. So now this milk, when it is turned into a butter, into a curd or yogurt, it can stay longer. You can keep it much longer. And then when that one undergoes a chemical change, a transformation, transmutation it is called. When that undergoes and it becomes a butter, you can keep it much, much longer. And when the butter is again undergone a more purification state, totally purified, it becomes ghee. And this ghee can be kept for any longer of time that you want. It can be, the older it is, it acquires a medicinal quality. So, from the milk to the ghee, there are stages. So, from Sotapatti to Arahathood, there are stages. There are 8 distinct steps of enlightenment. And once you become transformed mentally, you are no longer what you are now. So what happens in these 8 distinct steps, the process of enlightenment, will be our point for discussion in the next discourse. With this, I conclude. May the grace of Bhagavan Buddha, Lord Buddha, may his blessings surround your lives with wisdom and abundant metta, universal love. May you all be happy. Sukhino bhavantu.